You want to become really good at arm wrestling, so you're putting in hours and hours of training to achieve that every single week. You're spending so much of your energy and you're enduring so much pain for this goal. Now imagine if most of your efforts were just wasted and in a few years you're still losing to the same exact guys. I want to prevent that for you, so I will share the top 5 most destructive mistakes that I've made so you can skip them and make real progress right away. Number 1. Pain and delayed gratification. As an important athlete often said, you should always feel good. This might sound like redundant and common sense information, but being in constant pain isn't the right state to be in while trying to get stronger. But lots of arm wrestlers still think that hurting all the time is somehow going to magically make you and your connective tissue stronger. But the reality is you will be barely able to increase your numbers on your lifts, and the guys who are working half as hard as you are going to overtake you. If you are in pain, and I'm not just talking about a little bit of soreness, then you're either doing too much or you're doing it too often for your body to handle. Let yourself heal first and then adjust your training routine so your body can actually recover from it. You will make more progress doing less. Additionally, you might believe that winning your next tournament requires you to lift, let's use an example, 50 kilograms on your pronation lift. And that could actually be the case. But what's not going to help you is to add weight to this exercise every day while compromising form just to get to this goal. You can either stick to good form, or you can wonder why you're still losing despite lifting those big numbers. So to summarize, there's no way to shortcut your arm wrestling progress. If you want to get really good, think in terms of years instead of weeks and months, and become really good at delaying gratification. Number 2, not sticking to a program. Even sticking to a bad routine would be better than switching around your training every few weeks. In order to make real progress, you need to stick to your program, you need to stick to the exercises that you're doing, you even need to stick to the same form for a really long time. If you don't, you will notice that you were just going in circles. Especially as a beginner, you could make a simple linear progression program using Devon Larratt's most popular lifts. For example, you could train 3 times a week, do 5 sets of 10 on these exercises, and every single training session you add half a kilo to all of your lifts. If your form breaks down on any given exercise or you can't move the weight anymore, just reduce it by 10% and then work your way up again. And there you go, you would make more progress sticking to that than if you bought somebody's paid program every few months. Number 4 is thinking that prehab is not required. You will only realize that you shouldn't have skipped your prehab exercises when it is already too late. If you don't want to run into guaranteed problems and injuries, then don't skip your antagonist muscle exercises like external shoulder rotation, wrist extensions, finger extensions, supination, sinking, or even triceps work. And what's really important is you have to treat them as actual exercises that you also want to make progress on. Don't just go through the motions without any focus or intensity. Number 4 is table time disaster. You are not Devon Larratt. Nobody is. Not even Levan could train like Devon Larratt without getting hurt. And chances are, if you're watching this video, you're not that far ahead of everybody to turn table time into a low-intensity volume training no matter what happens. You, just like the rest of us, will need to be a little bit more careful with your pulling if you want to make progress. You can't just go all out every time and treat table time like it is a strength update against the other guys. You can do that maybe once a month. Because if you get pinned in arm wrestling, you're literally doing an eccentric overload lift above your max every single time. And imagine you were trying to do that for bench pressing every single week for multiple reps. You would probably even get weaker over time. So how do we get stronger? Table time is for practicing technique, and lifting weights is for adding strength. Use practice to refine your moves and tell your sparring partners not to rip you open. You always have to adhere to the rule. The stronger guy holds and the weaker guy works. And make sure to communicate this concept if you are the weaker one. Most people know about it anyways, but they choose to ignore it for ego reasons. And to get stronger, like we talked about, you need to follow a strategic program with progressive overload. And number 5, avoid BS exercises that will only hurt yourself. You should never really do the following 3 exercises, especially if you are a beginner. Full range pronation exercises with the belt through your hand will spin out your wrist at the ulnar portion as soon as you get strong enough. This will lead to pain and discomfort and might even set you up for a TFCC tear. So avoid this and do your pronation exercises over or under your thumb. Number 2 is full range wrist curls with either a big handle or a big fat grip. Doing this exercise early on is how I tore my own TFCC on my right wrist. This alone cost me years of progress, and for arm wrestling specifically, doing full range with a big handle is not even that effective. If you want to do them for hypertrophy or just general wrist conditioning and health, then just use a small handle. The last exercise is the so-called hook curl. Really heavy curls combined with internal rotation are a great way to have arm wrestling pain and to be unable to focus on the more important lifts that will actually translate to arm wrestling. If you get really strong on these, you can then still lose to amateurs while you are repping over 50 kilograms on this exercise. Sounds pretty good, doesn't it? There might be a place and a time for this exercise, but it is not essential for a beginner, and it might even be very detrimental. Because when starting out especially, you have very limited energy or work capacity or whatever you want to call it, so you have to focus on the more important lifts. If I had known about all of this at the start of my arm wrestling journey, I would have been far ahead of where I am at today. So I hope this will skip a few of the years where you're just trying to figure everything out for you. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.